Hi, Chef Matt here, and today I've got a super simple recipe for charred winter squash salad. So the first thing we do to start this salad is the glaze. So we add our wine of the month, balsamic vinegar, and then just a touch of honey. So we'll get that on the stove, and we want to reduce that slowly. So as you see, I've got a pretty good sized pot here. We want to make sure that it doesn't overflow. So I've got a pretty thick bottom pot, and it's maybe a third of the way up, okay? So we're going to start that on a medium heat. This is going to take a little bit, probably 40 minutes maybe, and we're going to reduce it down by at least half, okay? And you want to reduce it to the point, I'm going to show you, I have some made here. It's just a very thick syrup. So you want to reduce it to the point when it's hot, where it just coats the back of a spoon. As it chills down a little bit at room temperature, it will get thicker. You can always add a little bit more water, but make sure you reduce it down enough, okay? Next, we're going to work on our squash. So as you see here, I've got a couple different types of winter squash. One of my absolute favorites, delicata squash. You can actually eat the skin. As this roasts, it gets super sweet, but the skin is very, very soft. This is pretty easy to cut. Acorn squash, I'm sure you're familiar with this. Has a little bit of a harder skin, not quite as edible, but still very delicious. And then this is a kabocha squash. Now this has a very hard skin. It's not super simple to cut. And one of the things I learned years ago is I actually take this and blanch it for maybe 2 minutes in boiling water and then pull it out, let it cool to the touch. Then it's very easy to get a knife through. You can also do that with an acorn squash as well. So what we did here is we cut the acorn squash and the delicata squash in half, removed the seeds, and then cut them in about 1.5 to 2 inch slices, okay? So we're gonna add that to a large stainless steel bowl, and we're just going to drizzle some olive oil, give it a toss. Just a really simple olive oil, some cracked black pepper, and some kosher salt. And don't be shy. Don't be shy with the salt. Okay, there's a lot of squash here. Okay, so give it a nice toss. Now, while my oven has been preheating, I have it set to 475. I also put a half sheet pan in there. I like to heat the pan a little early, and what that does is it helps everything not to stick. So I have a couple of old pans that I've been using for years, and they're really dark and beat up, but they're perfect for roasting vegetables, okay? I do wash them every time, but I don't get all the stuff off of them because it helps almost to be like natural Teflon, okay? So I'm gonna add these, and we're just gonna kind of spread everything out. And it's nice to actually put the squash laying flat side down, and it'll get really beautifully caramely as it cooks. And about halfway through, we'll just kind of turn everything over. So our squash has had time to rest a little bit and cool down to room temperature. As you can see, beautifully caramelized, nice and soft, okay? The delicata squash, remember, very, very easy to eat the skin, okay? The acorn, not quite as much. So now we're gonna assemble everything here. We've got some fresh squeezed lemon juice. We've got a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And then our dates. Some of the Marcona almonds. We'll save a little bit for the garnish. And then arugula. We'll just hit that with a touch of kosher salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper. We'll give that a toss. And then we're going to add all of our beautiful roasted squash. And this is just such a nice side dish for the holidays. And as you can see, nothing stuck to this pan. I love these old pans. So we're just gonna lightly toss this. You could even use your hands. I think I'm gonna use my hands. I like to get my hands in there, put a little love in there. This is absolutely beautiful. Just a gorgeous little salad here. And then we've got a couple of garnishes that we're gonna add to this. Some beautiful French feta and some festive pomegranate seeds. Now, as you have, obviously with entertaining and having guests come over, it's nice to get things done ahead of time. And this is, you can cook this squash early in the morning and then just let it sit out at room temperature and then put it together right before guests come over. So we've got our great salad here. Now just a couple of garnishes. This is that glaze. Yeah, it's cooled off to room temperature. We're just gonna lightly drizzle some of this. You could also put this in a squeeze bottle. Just make sure that the tip is really small. You don't cut it too big. And this will last in the refrigerator for months. So, feta cheese. I just love to eat salads like this. Just great textures. And the rest of those Marcona almonds. And then again, this is one of the variations I like to do, just some freshly shucked pomegranate seeds. That is a festive salad for the holidays, my friends. And there you have it, our charred winter squash salad. Enjoy.